Not something you thought you'd ever hear again. Again. Hey you, what's your name? Is it true what they say about you? This is the Artist Unloaded. Hello everybody, welcome to the very first episode of Artist Unloaded. I'm your host, Michael Phillips. To my right here is our technical puppeteer, Brad Curtis. He's controlling everything from the background. We started off with some audio issues in the very first beginning, but I think we figured that out. Let me know in the chat, can you hear us? Please tell us. If you can't hear us, let us know. Today we have a guest joining us at the end to perform, to do some music news. We're going to have him on later, but for now we have our very first music guest. He's an artist that goes by the name of Clarence Cooney. Hi, Clarence.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Hope the drive wasn't too bad.
It's, man, don't get me started.
Yeah, as you guys all know, if you're local to the area, we're experiencing some blizzarding issues right now. So if you have any connection issues, audio issues, please do let us know, and we'll see what we can do to remedy the situation. But let's just kick right off into the interview. Clarence, where are you from, and what kind of music did you start out playing?
I'm from Madoc, and the type of music that I play, that's a very hard thing to answer.
That's probably one of the hardest questions to answer as an artist.
I think so, yeah, absolutely, man. I grew up listening, started, obviously listening to my parents' tapes and records and things that they had, and my mom had things like Black Sabbath and Pavarotti and tapes like that, and my dad had, REO Speedwagon, Meatloaf, stuff like that. So that all went together, and then my older brother was into, punk stuff. And then as soon as I got to high school, it was all Blink-182, and it started out heavy into the stuff like that, pop punk, rock stuff.
Oh, right on. So yeah, we're around the same generation, so we're all pop punk lovers around here. So I feel like they got a real big influence on our generation. Yeah. Sum 41, Blink-182, stuff like that. Speaking of what you play, if you could remove all concept of genres and you could explain your music or your original music on an emotional level, how would you describe your music?
That's a good question, because when I write music, I don't feel like I put a genre to it. I start with the emotion. I feel like whatever I'm feeling at that time will come out, and it could either be a rock song, it could feel like a country song. I don't know if it's hard to answer that one, because I can't I don't have a genre thing going on, so
yeah. Well, that's a really smart move as an artist to do, because I find a lot of artists, they chase a sound and they try to they intentionally pigeonhole themselves into a sound, which makes it harder for them to progress later into different genres. Yeah. So it's a really smart way of going about the writing process.
I believe, emotions are how I start, and then it ends up being from there into whatever genre that feels like at that time will go. It just, it depends on the feeling of that moment, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you play and you're writing, who would you say your target audience is? If you could have any specific people listen to your music, who would it be?
Anybody that can connect to the emotion. If you listen to some of the lyrics, there is a lot of mental health, addiction, stories and situations that go on in the lyrics. So anybody who can relate to those types of things are my demographic. Try to get people, support or feel like they're not alone in that sense, right?
Yeah, well, and one thing that I've found that when it comes to certain levels of music, and I listened to some of your live performances, and I feel like your writing style, you have to have a certain level of emotional intelligence to be able to relate to the music. Yeah. So that's a really clear and straight answer for that. It's a very good answer. To be able to connect on emotional level with the music you write is key to getting that demographic. Now, when you're playing in a setting, what do you find to be more of an intimate setting? If you want to connect with your audience in a raw way, would you find it easier to do that in a studio setting where you can have things a little bit more controlled for the listener? Or do you think it's a little bit more intimate in a live setting where all the cards are on the table?
I feel like I really captivate people when I'm live. Again, with that whole emotion thing, I don't know if it's the energy of people being along with me that goes hand in hand with it, but I do have a hard time in the studio I don't know if it's hearing myself, I'm just hard on myself or something, but I don't feel like I have the same energy in the studio as I do like playing at a live show where people can hear me and attach to me that way, you know.
That's a perfect word for that, energy. You know, I have the same struggle in the studio myself. You sit in the studio and things can seem a little bit forced.
Especially when you hear yourself, right? Like,
yes.
And then you end up being your worst critic, and then I end up recording and then end up not putting anything out. And then I'll go to a live show, and then I'll end up getting more shows by just playing, and then people hearing me and be like, that was great. Like, let's get you in here. Let's do this, you know?
Yeah. And you know, it's funny you say that, because I find that when you're in the studio, if you make a mistake in the studio, you can always fix it later. You know, but when you're in that live setting and you're right in front of the people,
it's raw, right?
Once the mistake is made, the mistake is made. But I find that those mistakes tend to bring more of a rawness to the performance. So I can totally understand where you're coming from with that. Do you have like a pre-show ritual that you do before you get on stage, or are you pretty much comfortable from the get-go?
I'm very nervous. I am awful before a show, before any public speaking, anything. I do rely a lot on my fiance. Her and I hang out before the show, and she calms me down like quite a bit, like before, because I get very nervous. I get shaky, and without her, I don't know if I can get a show in without and getting wild or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I do rely on her with our. I like seeing her before a show, basically.
Yeah, well, it's good to have that community of support. And especially when you have one person that you can relate to and be completely vulnerable to, definitely helps a lot. So what's your fiance's name?
Courtney.
You want to give a shout out to Courtney?
Hey, babe.
Courtney, good to see that you're helping out Clarence with his pre-show jitters. We don't always have that kind of support. So keep at it, giving Clarence that motivation and that support, because it obviously means the world to him. So I wanted to make that shout out, because it's very rare in these days for an artist to get the kind of support that they need to move forward with those jitters. Now, we were talking about genres later. Do you ever find yourself chasing a sound in particular?
No, I don't believe so. Maybe there's been a few times where I thought maybe I should, because of the times or just the way people are, the way that things are. People are so hard on artists. Like, it's like, especially if you are somebody who is everybody knows your sound and you've done something different, they're like, continue with that. We need that sound. And I don't like that. Like, I listen to a band, and then usually, like, they do travel through sounds. You take a look at the Beatles, like, they've gone through every sound of genre in the book since they've started, and people didn't like certain genres. Same with when Bob Dylan went electric. Everybody hated it, right? Like, it was bad. So it was, I don't, yeah.
And just so everybody knows, this is definitely going to be an F-bomb, a fuck-friendly podcast. Most of us here are from the sticks. We didn't grow up in the fancy-pantsy cities where you got to mind your P's and Q's. So if your ears are sensitive to swearing, I would say I apologize in advance, but there are going to be quite a few F-bombs naturally. So with that being said, and we were just talking before we came into the studio, and we were outside, and we were talking about the scene in this local area in Belleville. Do you think there's anything we can do to bring the scene back to Belleville, to make it alive like it used to be? Because I've always found that it's such a struggle to get booked in Belleville.
Yeah.
And if you do get booked in Belleville, it never tends to be worth it. So do you have anything to touch on with that?
It is a very inconsistent thing, because there is so much going on along with everybody and everything. Like, if you take a summer, people have their trips booked, you know, they've got their nights, their sports, this, that. And in this local scene, I do notice, like we were saying outside, is I was living in a city where every night of the week there was a show, a concert, an open mic, something. And then here you go Monday through Thursday, and then there's nothing. And then when you hit Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you get karaoke. And then, like, the oversaturation of that is like there's no room left for live music at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned you used to book people for the 116 Bistro.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they closed down. I've played the bistro myself, and Sal was a great guy. Shout out to Sal. 116 was a great place. And do you think that maybe the deadness of the music scene contributed to the 116 closing down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
And it's also, if I may,
yeah, absolutely.
it's also harder too because, in events, people go out and to a bar or something, is people don't want to go out and of course they don't want to drink and drive anymore, which is a big thing. Is now in the concerts or at a bar, you want people to come out and support you, but you don't want them to come drink and drive, and they don't want to come drink and drive. So I feel like that also plays now in a town like Belleville where everybody lives in the sticks. Like, it's harder to catch an Uber or a taxi to get home around here than it is in the city. So it is harder in a city like Belleville to get things going because, yeah, people don't want to do that and drive, or, it is harder to get back home from being in Belleville.
Yeah, they were talking. I was just reading a post up on one of the Facebook pages for Belleville, and somebody had mentioned that it'd be a good idea to get bus routes along 37 and 62. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had some kind of public transport for the small towns that are encompassing Belleville, that will drive more traffic because
Right.
people will be more willing to go out to the bars and drinking stuff, knowing that they have a safe way to get back home. So, I mean, that's definitely a huge contributing factor. Now, with that being said, because the Belleville scene's so dry, and when we go out as artists and we play to these empty bars, it's hard to feel successful as an artist.
Right.
When you find yourself playing small gigs and you find yourself working with small crowds, how would you measure your success as an artist? Would you find that from the number in your crowds? Would you find that from your own personal goals that you've set for yourself? How would you measure your success as an artist?
My favorite thing has always been and always will be somebody, and even if I recognize them from a show or not, they'll come up to me and they'll say, I have your song stuck in my head. And I think, to me, that is success. If I can get a jingle, a hook, or something that I have to say stuck in your head, then I did something right. Then that's my success there, is I feel like that. And crowds don't matter. As long as people kind of relate, then I feel like that is success for me.
I can totally agree with that. I mean, I can't imagine how many people, like, as an artist, for you could have that one person come up to you and say, I have this song in your head. And it makes you wonder, how many other people are you living rent-free in their heads?
Right.
Because plays don't necessarily always equate to plays and views on YouTube and the radio. It can equate to, people even just listening to it in their head.
Right.
They've got their own radio right in here. So I was actually kind of thinking along the same lines, is that, success as an artist can be measured in many different ways. Some would measure it in money. Some would measure it in how many people come to your shows. And I think that is actually the real success of an artist, is being able to say that you reflected yourself on just one person.
Right.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
So only just a couple more questions left for the interview, guys, and then we're going to cut off to a commercial break, and we're going to set up for a live performance for Clarence. Are you ready for that?
I am ready.
Awesome. So with everything being said, and now that we've discussed genres and topics like that, why did you start writing? Was it influence from your family, or did you end up finding writing came to you naturally?
I had a hard time learning, actually. So when I picked up the guitar living out in Madoc, I didn't get to do what we do now and YouTube something. I didn't get to look something up. It was as hard as like looking up tabs or listening to something. So I think I had a harder time learning how to do the songs that I liked. Instead, I had an easier time placing my fingers on the fretboard until it sounded right, and then that that note sounded right. Okay, let's go to do something else, and then you do 10, 11 tries at it until you get the right note. I think I started because I couldn't actually learn, or didn't have the resources to learn how to do covers or other songs. I learned by placing my fingers where I could on the fretboard until it sounded right.
So you sound like a guy who enjoys a challenge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when you're challenged and you get that eureka moment when you finally are able to play that weird chord that you looked up or whatever, that feeling, how often would you say you can capture that feeling in a live setting?
In a live setting. Let's see.
That was a curveball question,
Yeah.
everybody, just so you know.
Could you repeat that one more time? There?
Yeah. So when you get that like gratification of you have this goal in mind,
Yeah.
and you finally reach it, how often would you say that you get that feeling? Maybe not necessarily in a live setting, like in a show setting, but how many times would
Like
you say
when the chords fit?
as you're writing, you know,
Right.
as you're writing, when you get that eureka moment,
Yeah.
in those writing sessions, how often would you say you get that like euphoria or the dopamine rush that comes with that success?
Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it takes 2 years. I have songs that I've like started with a chord progression and I've finished within 2 hours. And I have songs that I've started with a chord progression and a hook that are still sitting on the backboard from.
So just for anybody out there trying to learn guitar or get dopamine rush of I learned that new chord, I hit that new note when I'm singing, whatever, just keep chasing it and you're going to end up doing all kinds of cool things. Clarence is a good example of that. So those are all the questions that I have prepared for him today. We're going to cut off to a commercial. We'll be back in a couple minutes and we'll have Clarence live off the floor performing a couple songs. Do you know what songs you're going to perform?
I don't yet.
All right.
That's how I like to play it. I have a few in mind, so we'll see when I get up there how I feel, and then we'll pick from there.
All right. We'll hear these mystery songs in just a few minutes, everyone.
Stay tuned for a live studio performance. Brought to you by Inclusive Quality Care. Inclusive Quality Care provides compassionate, in-home, and virtual support services for seniors and individuals with disabilities. Their programs focus on building independence, confidence, and meaningful community connections. From personal support and respite care to virtual life skills, coaching, and social programs, their team is dedicated to helping people live fuller, more supported lives. To learn more, visit inclusivequalitycare.com.
All right, and live off the floor from Lakeside Loft Records, we have Clarence Cooney.
She's been crying, and I hear you on the calls. You've been lying, and I can tell by the way you pause. She got a big heart, she don't need you to stomp it down. She's supposed to feel comfort when you are around. Hey, do you miss her, now that she knows? I got that something she been looking for. Hey, do you miss her, now that she knows? I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Oh. It's been years now, she wonders why she stayed. She grows fear now, cause you promised her you change. It's just like a cold case, impossible to break, when your story stays the same. Hey, do you miss her, now that she yours? I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Hey, do you miss her, now that she yours? I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Oh. She's feeling crazy, she runs through the daisies and asks them to never let her go. She's barefoot, it's raining, you won't hear complaining, oh, she just goes with the flow. Hey, do you miss her, now that she yours? I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Hey, do you miss her, now that she yours? I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Oh. Hey, do you miss her, mister? Hey, do you miss her, mister? Hey, do you miss her, mister? Now that she ain't yours, I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Hey, do you miss her, mister? Now that she ain't yours, I got that something, oh, she been looking for. Thank you. My vision is clear, I really slow it down. If I kept on going, I'd be 6 feet in the ground. You must have known that we are the cause. I won't sell my soul, but I do feel lost. A future is blown. I put my life on pause. It's a good thing I've grown up. I can weigh out the car. Pushing my patience. Maybe I'm just getting old. These changes, they don't make sense, but we just do what we're told. Down. If I kept on growing, I'd be 6 feet in the ground. I spent too many days, ate too many nights, thinking of friends are fairly all around us that have died. But you will never fade. You're reaching every star. Every time we look up, we know right where you are. Pushing my patience. Maybe I'm just getting old. These changes, they don't make sense, but we just do what we're told. If we held our heads up, said enough is enough to stop the days of getting rough, but just call my bluff. It's just getting way too much. It's the worst when you're dealing with your curses, going over what you have rehearsed and dealing with the nurses. People float saying waiting to hearses. I can relate to those that wanna be the first, and I can relate because I'm thinking about what's not fair, trying to do what's right, even though I'm feeling scared. Even though I'm feeling scared. If we had the heads up, said enough is enough, to stop the days of getting rough, we just call our bluff. You just getting way too much. If we had the heads up, said enough is enough, to stop the days of getting rough, we just call my bluff. It's just getting way too much.
Wow, that was one heck of a performance. Is his mic still on?
No.
Okay.
Why is he gonna play another?
No, that's up to him. I'd love to hear one. That
Yeah.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. We're just gonna cut to a quick break while we get ready to play a little game before we introduce a special guest to introduce himself for music news. So stay tuned for just a minute.
Stay tuned for a live studio performance. Brought to you by Inclusive Quality Care. Inclusive Quality Care provides compassionate, in-home, and virtual support services for seniors and individuals with disabilities. Their programs focus on building independence, confidence, and meaningful community connections. From personal support and respite care to virtual life skills, coaching, and social programs, their team is dedicated to helping people live fuller, more supported lives. To learn more, visit inclusivequalitycare.com.
All right, so we've come up with a little game here at Artists Unloaded, and we're going to call it Lyric Blitz. So essentially what it's going to be, I've come up with 10 words. Brad and Clarence are going to play against each other. I'm going to say a word, and they each have 5 seconds to come up with a song that has that lyric in it. They have to sing the lyric. So we're going to give it off of a go. Brad, are you ready for the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Clarence, are you ready for the game?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna hide my hand here. I'll let you know. Brad doesn't know any of these words either, so he's in the dark. No cheating. Okay, so our first word is road. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Gonna take my horse to an old town road.
Point for Clarence.
Do we have a buzzer or do we just like go?
Yeah, whoever, just jump in.
Oh, just
Whoever
jump in?
jumps
All right,
in, thinks of it first, boom. Do-do-do-do. Oh, there's our technical puppeteer with this. This is the sound that you will hear when someone gets the correct answer. And this is the sound you will hear when nobody gets an answer. Sound good? Okay. So, point 1 for Clarence. Next word is rain. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Who's the
1.
word for?
Both.
Oh.
5, 4,
That was
3,
unclear.
2, 1. No point.
Let the rain fall down and wash away. Oh, you said no point? Oh, damn.
We'll give that a half point.
Yeah.
That's a half. So
Both
tally.
people.
So both people, that's right, Brad. Clear on the rules. Everybody, just shout it out as soon as you get it. Whoever gets it first gets the point. Okay, third word. Down. 5.
I
4.
bless the rains down in Africa.
Point for Brad. So we're now at 1 to 1.5 in favor of Clarence. Next word. Cage. 5, 4, 3.
I'm gonna break my rusty cage.
Point for Clarence. All right. Next word is push. 5. Brad, point for Brad. All right. We're halfway through. Points are 2, 2.5 in favor of Clarence. Next word is feel. 5, 4.
I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
Yeah, point for Clarence. All right. Next word is bring. 5, 4.
Bringing down the house.
Point for Clarence. I should have given a half point for that. Bringing is
Oh.
close enough. We're
Yeah.
good. We're good on that. Next word. Follow. 5, 4.
I'll follow you
3.
into the dark.
Point for Clarence. Look at that. Okay, we've got 2 left.
I'm not very good.
Brad, you gotta sing 5 songs
I know.
in one guess to catch up.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be tricky. Missing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna wind up missing you. Does missing count?
It definitely does
All
count.
right.
Yep, okay. Point for Clarence. Last word is middle. 5.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Clarence, look at that. Clarence is a champ. All right, so we're going to be scoring out of 10. Obviously, Clarence is our winner on this game. The next guest that comes on, we're going to have them play the same game with us, and the points that Clarence has scored is their goal to beat. Brad is going to have to do a lot of catching up and prepping to do to get good at the game,
Yeah.
so that he can compete. Or either that, or Clarence is just abnormally good at this game. Okay, so the points that the next guest have to beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 out of 10. That's actually a lot higher of a score than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it would be Clarence knows his shit.
Yeah, Clarence is just the top dog on this shit.
I thought.
All right, Clarence. Awesome having you on here, man.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me out.
Do you mind if I ask you, like, it's funny that you played the song Mr. Miss Her. Is that the title of the song?
Mr. Yeah.
Okay,
Missed
so...
her.
Missed her.
Missed her, Mr.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jimmy, our mutual friend there, he actually recommended that we ask you to play that song.
Oh, really?
So it's actually, it's funny that you played it, because I can see why
I haven't
asked.
played that in a long time, so I pulled that one out tonight.
Well, I can see why you asked. That's going to actually be stuck in my head,
Perfect,
too.
yeah.
So, all right. Thanks, Clarence, for coming out.
My day's set then, because that's what I said, you know. So as long as somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I got your song stuck in my head, that's great.
That's where you measure your
Perfect.
success. Now, that's going to be playing in my head for the rest of the week. So, all right, guys. We have a special guest coming on. Well, actually, he's not a guest. He's actually a member of the team here at Lakeside Loft Records for Artists Unleash. His name is Matt. He's going to be coming on and doing some music news for us in just a minute. We're going to give you another word from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back in just a minute. Again, everybody thank Clarence for coming on. That was an awesome performance, and really glad that we came on. All right, we will be back soon with a segment of music news. Right soon.
Stay tuned for a live studio performance. Brought to you by Inclusive Quality Care. Inclusive Quality Care provides compassionate, in-home, and virtual support services for seniors and individuals with disabilities. Their programs focus on building independence, confidence, and meaningful community connections. From personal support and respite care to virtual life skills, coaching, and social programs, their team is dedicated to helping people live fuller, more supported lives. To learn more, visit inclusivequalitycare.com.
Music news.
Well, hey, welcome to the podcast. It's great to be here. We want to let you know about some music news. Now, first, in international music news. Now, I know this is primarily based for local here. It's just an awesome time we're having tonight. Everybody's really enjoying it, and we hope you are too. So we want to just start off by saying that today, apparently, and I just learned this morning when I woke up on Google, actually, is the 24th anniversary of Avril Lavigne's song Complicated. And she's a Canadian icon, so it matters. We've got Left, that's L-E-F-F-T, from the Belleville area, just released November Sky. Pardon me, let me rephrase that. We'll be releasing March 17th. They're going to be coming out with the song November Sky, and it's alternative genre, and that's primarily what we're about, rock, you know. Blackfly Jones, who's that guy? Blackfly Jones from the Campbellford area with Nobody Like You. Blues rock coming out on March the 26th. I'm not going to say anything about that. We all know it's me. Blackfly Jones, yeah, stage name. Kyle Tripp from the Belleville area released 2 tracks called Cold Sweats and Water not long ago on February the 20th. So you can check out Kyle Tripp as well. And I can tell you that any of these artists that we have on here that we're talking about are specifically, well, we all know that our guest today was selected because he's a great artist. And these releases are something we want you to check out because, this is what it's all about. If you want to submit any music, any upcoming releases or music news that you have or you want to pass along or you want to be a guest on the show, maybe you're just inquiring or you're curious, hit us up, news@artistsunloaded.com. I'm Matt Eugene, and that's been music news for this episode. Thanks for joining us. Sponsors. We have our sponsors. I feel like our sponsors. Yes, it's our first episode, so there's a few things to work out. Owen Wright. We have to do a shout out to Owen Wright. And I got these guys to my side here. They're helping me out because we have to, we came upon the show pretty quickly. My first time here. So
I also kind of threw that on him before he started. So
yeah,
what we're getting at here is just with the sponsors. We're open to accepting local businesses. If you want to sponsor the show and put an ad up during the podcast, you're more than welcome to reach out. We'll actually put a email down in the description where you'll be able to email to be able to reach out for sponsors. We've also have our next guest is going to be Owen Wright. He's a local artist, and he's going to be coming on the 28th on the Saturday. We haven't landed a time yet. We're probably going to be around the same time, 7 o'clock. So be sure to catch Owen Wright on the 28th, and we'll see you then soon.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Play it. What we also want to do is give a shout out to Earshot Digital. It's only a few bucks. You can go on there and you get featured. A lot of artists get featured on Earshot Digital. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. That's it. Like I say, I kind of threw my part together pretty quick here today, right, for the first part. So there'll be improvements on this as we go, and thanks a lot. So check out Earshot Digital. It's worth it if you got original tunes, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me on the show, guys, and thank you, Clarence, for coming. And as you can see, my nerves.
Hey you, what's your name? Is it true what they say about you?